Hey guys, welcome back to the Clarity Room podcast. So, I'm Aline Claire, and today's episode is episode 7, which means we've officially passed the average number of episodes that the number of podcasters actually stop at when they first upload. So, this is actually a pretty big achievement because I'm still here and I'm still creating for you guys. Today's episode is all about why everyone in their 20s feels left behind and how you can create clarity through it. So let's get started. Welcome to the Clarity Room podcast, the space for real talk, mindset shifts, and digital business growth. I'm your host, Aline Claire, an entrepreneur and a digital mentor, and I'm currently navigating the ups and downs of being in my 20s. I'm also currently building an online business and trying to build my dream life on my own terms. This is a safe space to build clarity in your life, grow your confidence, and take action towards your dreams. And hey, it's not always formal and serious. You'll also find some fun and lighthearted episodes along the way. So let's dive in. So we all know that your 20s is supposed to be somewhat the best years of your life, but it can also be quite confusing and also filled with pressure and chaos. Most of the time, we end up comparing ourselves to our friends and the people that we are surrounded with, and especially with people on social media. But this has become such a huge thing because everyone's actually in their own timeline and everyone is at their own path. Whether you're still studying or starting your first ever job, or maybe you're looking at getting married and having kids, but also you want to buy a house, or maybe you want to travel, or maybe you're starting something for yourself, like starting a business. We all just need to remember that we are all in different chapters of our lives and we shouldn't compare. The first point that I wanted to talk about is all about social media comparison, because I mentioned this in one of my last episodes, but the truth is, we only see someone's highlight reel on Instagram or on TikTok. We don't see their whole lives. We don't see the lessons and challenges that they've had, the obstacles they've had along the way, and all the things. They only post what they want to post and they only show you what they want to show you. We only see the highlight reels of their lives, not their full stories. Most of the time, everybody actually seems like they're ahead, whether this is landing a new job or having a new promotion or traveling to multiple countries at a time, or maybe getting engaged, or even creating six figures within their business at the age of 23. When I started my online business through affiliate marketing at 21, I have pretty much built it to nearly 5 figures, and I've been nearly in the space for about 2 years now. And of course, this wasn't luck, but it took time, effort, and investment. Most of the time, we just see the tip of the iceberg and not the rest of it. This definitely wasn't luck, and it took months, if not a couple of years, to try and create a brand for myself, and every day I'm still learning and growing as I go. Of course, when you're comparing yourself through someone in the online space, you can get into a bit of a spiral, into a bit of a rut because you think their life isn't as good as yours. At the end of the day, we all have our own lives to live, and there's no point of just watching someone through a screen to live theirs instead of trying to build what you want to build for yourself. You have to get curious and really ask yourself what it is that you want to do with your life, because obviously you can get inspired by these people, whether they are influencers or celebrities or even entrepreneurs that you look up to. But at the end of the day, you really have to create a life that is your own. You have to focus on your own lane and your own journey and stop comparing, because that isn't going to get you anywhere. There was a time where I actually had analysis paralysis because I kept comparing myself to other young entrepreneurs in the online space, and I was thinking to myself that I was watching them because I wanted to get inspiration on how they did their content, how they, did all the things on social media in order to build their business and build their brand. But the truth was, I got stuck on this analysis paralysis stage because all I kept doing was comparing what I was doing to what they were doing and why they were getting results in their business and why I wasn't getting results. I think this is why social media is so toxic, especially nowadays, because it was supposed to be like such a beautiful thing where we could share our lives with our friends and family through the internet. But I think now it's mostly just strangers that can fully see our lives, that can watch us, and most of the time we worry about the judgment and opinions that might come from this, and of course, what other people think. But like I said, you really just have to focus on where you are going or what you are trying to do instead of just trying to look at everybody else. The second section that I wanted to talk about for this episode is all about the unrealistic milestones that society has for us, especially while we are in our 20s. So, obviously, there are normal standards within the society because you have to be able to follow a specific plan or a specific path, aka finishing high school, going to uni, graduating with a good degree so you can get a good job, so you can get a good pay, and you can get married, have kids, buy a house, and all the things. But at the end of the day, you really have to create what it is that you want for yourself. Trust me, I followed the path of going to university, getting a good degree, and now I'm at the point where I'm actually doing quite well in the career that I am in at the moment. But in saying this took so much persistence and determination. And at the end of the day, you think that the grass is greener on the other side, but it's only greener where you water it. You will never be truly happy if you're not happy with your own journey and your own life. Society basically sets these invisible milestones. Maybe it is getting married by 25 or buying a house by 25 or being able to travel the world before you're even 30 years old. But at the end of the day, these are very unrealistic, and we all go through our own circumstances and our own challenges in life. I graduated university at 21 and I also started a full-time job at 21. I also started an online business within the same year, but there are so many people online that have bought a house by 19, that have earned thousands of dollars by the time they're 22, and there's so many other things like that. The truth is, you always see the success in people's lives and what they have built for themselves, but you never truly see what hard work they've put in. You really just have to remind yourself of the milestones and achievements that you've had so far, whether this is back in middle school or even high school. And if you went to university and graduated, that is actually a really big achievement. Even if you didn't end up getting the job that you wanted to get in the first place. Most of the time, everybody learns and grows at a different pace. And in saying this, I have been in rooms where I've actually been one of the youngest. I've attended a business convention in Chula Vista, California in June, and that was filled with at least 7,000 people. I attended the biggest women in business event in New Zealand in September, filled with 800 women from all over New Zealand. And I am going to be attending the first ever meet and greet of our online business in New Zealand this weekend, and it's going to be filled with at least 100 people. Most of the time, I also feel like I am behind, and I just turned 23. But I've actually had advice from people saying that I'm so young and I have so much to learn and so much to grow. And the biggest women in business event that I attended, one of the girls that was actually at my table, I just assumed she was the same age as me, but she told me that I was at least a decade younger than her and that I had so much to grow and so much to learn from. I told her that I just started out my career and I just started building a business as well on the side. And she was like, "You have so much to learn. Don't rush it because everything comes at its own perfect time." You really have to define what success actually means for you and what you want to do with your life. And of course, it's okay to be a work in progress. You're definitely not behind, but you're just building something on your own path. In saying this, there's actually no expiry date on finding your purpose as long as you're waking up every single day trying to find what you truly love and stick to it. I've also heard the advice from older generation that the path that you are on right now or the career or job that you have right now isn't where you're going to stay forever. As long as you are figuring it out for where you are right now in life, then it's definitely fine to pivot from it once you change your mind to where you want to go. I think sometimes we also tend to compare ourselves to like our parents because most of our parents got married and had kids early. Like, most of them might have gotten married and had kids by the time they were 25, and maybe they have bought a house by then as well. The reality is they followed a different timeline and a different economy as well. There was cheaper housing, and there's definitely different job markets. The gap between their salary and our salary now versus the price of houses, and you definitely cannot compare yourself with something like that. This leads me to my next section, which is financial uncertainty and financial pressure. Of course, the cost of living right now is literally rising as we speak. The gas, the bills, and everything else in between have gone up. Sometimes I go to the supermarket and I try not to look at the prices of things because it really just hurts my bank account, and also the price of gas for my car nowadays. Of course, if you went to university and graduated, you also might have a student debt. But at the end of the day, there's so many unrealistic financial advice out there. There's also so many get rich quick schemes on social media and how you can start earning on the side that is definitely not realistic. You really have to do your own due diligence and do your own research and see what suits you best if you do want to start a side hustle or if you want to start something for yourself. Most of these things are going to cost you time and effort, if not money or investment, because no businesses out there you can start for free. Most of it will always cost you something. Even if this is using the materials that you already have, this is still costing you what you paid for those at the start. You really have to define time freedom and financial freedom for yourself and what this looks like to you. So for me, financial freedom and time and location freedom means not having to trade my time for money anymore. And of course, you have to shift your mindset from an employee mindset to an entrepreneur mindset, because at the end of the day, most of us get paid by hour and we have salaries. So if we think something is expensive, it is because it took us a number of hours to earn that money. You have to be clear on what these two things mean to you so that you can move towards your vision and where you want to go if you are building something. There's also lots of financial advice out there, whether this is from TikTok or social media in general, but there's so many on saving and investing. And if you want to learn about those, there's so many free resources out there that you can learn from. You might be just starting your long-term savings account or figuring out how to invest your money, whether this is in stocks or in KiwiSaver like here in New Zealand, or whether this is starting a business. But at the end of the day, our 20s is the time to figure this all out. So yes, just do your research and don't rush into anything. And once you have figured out that something is legitimate, that is taxable, that is how you know that it is something real. In my online business, we have a patented compensation plan, which actually means no other companies can copy this. And in saying this, we have high ticket commissions because of the high ticket company that we are partnered with. Don't rush into anything and look out for those get rich quick schemes, because at the end of the day, we all crave something instant because we're so used to this instant gratification. We can get anything in the palm of our hands at any time we want. If we're hungry, we can get Uber Eats. If we need a car to come pick us up, we can just order an Uber. But the growth is when delayed gratification happens, because you put in the work at the start, you show up for yourself, and then the results will eventually come. Slow growth still counts as progress, so don't put yourself down if it's taking you a while or if it's taking you a lot longer than you thought it was going to be. The fourth section I wanted to talk about is having an unclear direction because there are too many choices. I tried to explain this to my mum in high school when she was wondering why so many kids after high school weren't going to university. And in my opinion, and I still think like this, it's because we have too many options. Most of the time, if we come from a traditional family or a traditional Asian family, we have our careers and our degrees mapped out for us. I was lucky and blessed enough to not be in one of this situation, but I definitely felt the pressure with being the only child that went to university out of us three, and also like making my parents proud. I did love chemistry when I first went into it, but looking back now, I definitely just did it because I was pressured to pick a so and so good degree so it can lead me to a good paying job or a high paying job. When we are 18, we are literally told that we have to make a life changing decision that we have to stick to basically for the rest of our lives. But like I said, the truth is, you don't have to have everything figured out when you're 18. You can always change your path and you can always change where you want to go. We're literally told when we are kids we can be anything, but during this time, this becomes so overwhelming because there are so many options. During your 20s, this is your time to find that clarity and try and figure out what you really want to do with your life. It's so normal to start over, whether you're in your early 20s, your mid 20s, or whatever part of life you are in. This also includes the career that you are in, your goals and passions, and maybe your hobbies that you have. Because we all change and we all evolve, and that's how you know we grow. You really have to focus on what you think is aligning with your life right now and what you want in the future and what is aligning with the person that you want to become as well. You don't have to have it all figured out, you just have to take the next step. I always use the quote that you don't have to jump through a whole staircase, but you just have to take that first step right in front of you. Otherwise, you're literally going to fall over and fall down a whole staircase. You can always pivot, even if this means taking 3 steps back and 5 steps forward, and this will always bring you more clarity in life. This leads me right through to the next section. So, section 5 is all about conflicting advice and any expectations you have within your family. So, most of the time, our parents tell us to play it safe, but social media can also tell us to take risks, and it really confuses us. At the end of the day, everyone is going to have an opinion about how you live, where you live, and their opinion shouldn't matter to you. This can include opinions from your friends, your close family, and of course, the people that you surround yourself with. I always remind myself that if you don't want to trade lives with them, then their opinions should not matter to you. You might feel torn between security and purpose, but this is where you can figure it out for yourself. This can also relate to the example of like a security of having a job that pays you by the hour, and of course you're going to be getting, a paycheck at the end of each week. But if you think that your purpose is something else, like starting a business, then sometimes this doesn't include that security. And that's when you need to take risks. You need to take calculated risks, and you need to have that leap of faith within yourself. Obviously, you have to plan it, and you have to, like I said, do your research, do your due diligence. But at the end of the day, you have to figure out what it is that you want for yourself, whether this is the security that you want or following your purpose. Learn to block out the noise from other people and other people's opinions and start listening to your own voice. You'll definitely protect a lot of peace and energy when you start just listening to yourself and when you start caring what other people think about you. Section 6, and this is also the last, there can also be a lack of mentorship and guidance. Most of the time, while we are in our 20s, we are healing from our past or childhood traumas, or maybe even breaking generational patterns. This might mean pursuing something in the online space, traveling and seeing the world, or even diving into entrepreneurship without a roadmap. Most of the time, we have mentors and people that we look up to, even from people online that maybe you find that you align with. There's so many free resources out there, and this can definitely fast track your growth. It's definitely also normal to feel lost if no one around you has done it before. Like, I come from a really small town and a really small country, and there's so many tall poppy syndrome out here and imposter syndrome as well. So it's so easy to drown in it and feel like everybody else. At the end of the day, you can always pack up and move your life, but again, this has to be a calculated risk. Like I said earlier, don't take advice from someone that you would not trade places with. A millionaire would never make fun of someone who is just starting a business, and a famous and successful singer would never make fun of someone who just released their first ever single. So you just have to surround yourself and consume the content of the people that you want to become more like. Find the people that already have walked the path that you want to go to and surround yourself with people who think that your goals is crazy. Remember, your 20s isn't all about having it all figured out, because this is the chapter to find it all for yourself. It's all about learning, growing, and of course, exploring and building clarity right through it all. You're not behind, this is just your becoming era. And of course, if you related to this episode, make sure to give my podcast a rating and leave a comment down below, and really take a moment to reflect on which part hit you the most. Let's normalize moving at our own pace while finding clarity through it. This is also just a disclaimer because everything that I said in this episode is just from my own personal experience and is my own opinion, so just take it with a grain of salt and don't quote anything on me. Everyone is just living their own chapter of their lives, and we should just all go at our own pace. I love that this is a time where we can truly figure things out for ourselves, even if there is so much noise and so much pressure around us, because at the same time, we have so much options and so many opportunities that like the last generation did not have. This might be the social media that we have, the resources that we have on there, AI, and the things that we can do with it. And of course, we really have to use these resources with intention and not just using it to waste time and waste our lives. I've also learned to create more than you consume, because back in high school, I spent so much time watching other people's lives and watching other people on YouTube. And I always wanted to start something for myself, but I was always surrounded by people who were very judgy, and I never wanted to stand out. I just always wanted to fit in. But at the same time, we are all born not the same, and the whole point of having individuality is so that we stand out from the crowd. If we blend in with the crowd, we're literally going to be the average person, and that is not something that we want to become, especially if you're an entrepreneur or aspiring entrepreneur like me. I spent so many years vlogging and taking videos of myself, and I never posted them on social media, and looking back now, I would have grown my brand and I would have grown a business so big if I had just put myself out there. But of course, there's no point of dwelling in the past, because like I said, there's nothing that can be done right now to change it. I always tell myself that if I want to start something, to obviously plan it, research what I need to do, and just take action, because there's never going to be a perfect time. You really just have to make that change for yourself. You know, you deserve a much better life when you stop caring about what other people think and when you start doing stuff for yourself. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I will see you guys on my next episode. Bye for now. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. This is the Clarity Room podcast, and I'm your host, Aline Claire. If you want to watch the full video of these episodes, make sure to follow my YouTube channel, The Clarity Room Podcast. And if you want to learn a little bit more about my online business and how you can start your own side hustle using social media, then my socials will be in the show notes below. Connect with me if you want to learn more, otherwise I will see you guys in my next episode. Bye guys, have a good day. And remember that nothing changes if nothing changes.